Well, I'm back, and if you know me at all, you know that I absolutely can't stand to waste food. So when it starts going south on me, I've got to do something. I cannot throw these away. And I know the reason that I waited to show you these before I just mushed them up is because I don't want you to look at these and think they're too far gone, because they are not. They're perfect for banana bread. So I have one in here, and I'm going to peel off this other one. Now, I know that I have done banana bread for you before, so if you want to scroll on by, go right ahead. It is definitely a repeat of a different recipe that I've done, my mama's banana bread. But there are lots of new people, and I think I might even it might have been a Facebook one. So this way it goes to the YouTube channel, and of course you want to take any strings you got on them or whatever, but they are perfectly fine. They're just very ripe. So let me wipe my hands off. So I have 3 bananas. 3 or 4 bananas will work. Whatever you have works, but you got to have at least 3. And normally I would get my pastry cutter and because normally, you know me, I double everything, but because I only have 3, fork will do just fine. And as you can see, I'm just mashing them up with my fork, and that is pretty much as long as that took, because they were very, very ripe. Okay, so I'm going to put this aside. The next thing that you do when you're baking is you always do your dry ingredients first. So I am going to take my flour, and I've got 1.5 cups of flour. And that's my oven preheating at 350. So here is what I want you to do. I want you to take like a scoop, and if you've seen me do this before, just move along. That's fine. But for those who don't know, I want to make sure you measure when you're baking properly. So I'm getting 1.5 cups. So I'm taking a light hand, and I'm putting it into my measuring cup. I'm heaping it up over the side like that. I'm going to tap it a couple, 2-3 times just to settle the air pockets, not to pack it. And then I'm going to take the flat side of my knife, scrape it off so it's level, and I'm going to put it in a container, because I always mix my dry ingredients separately. So there is 1 cup, and it's 1.5 cups. So again, we're just going to mound it up over the top, like that. Tap it off a few times. And perfect measurement. Now, there are those who do it by gram weight, and that's far more complicated than I'm ever going to get. So, all right, let's put that aside. To this, I want to add my baking powder. So I've got baking powder, not soda, baking powder. Again, it's an Aldi product. You know I'm an Aldi girl. And it is calling for 1.25 teaspoons. So here is 1. Get it in there. And then I level it off, so I'm getting a level teaspoon, which that was not it. Gotta fill the whole thing first. There we go, level teaspoon. And 1/4. Probably would have worked better had I taken the top off, but that's all right. And there's 1/4. This also has baking soda, another Aldi product. Don't be afraid of anything in their baking aisle. I've used it all. And it is calling for 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. So we got soda and powder in this. And in that goes. It's calling for a dash of cinnamon. Well, I like my cinnamon, so I'm going to have 2 dashes. You know, you do you. I like cinnamon. And a pinch of salt. So that's a pinch, my pinch. And so now we're going to set this aside. We're going to go back down here to the to the mixer. And to the mixer, we're going to add 3/4 cup of sugar. Now with the sugar, it's a little differently. I'll still mound it up over the top, and I'll still scrape it with the back of my knife. But you can actually put your measuring thing down in there because it's not going to pack it. Flour will pack, sugar not so much. So that is 3/4 cup of sugar. And I'm going to put this on my mixer. I'm going to put my paddle attachment. I got to make sure you can see me. So it's time to bring you down here now. Hold on. Stay with me a second. There you go. Okay, so I've got my sugar in here. Pull you out a little bit so we can see it. And pull it up. And to that, I'm going to add 1/4 cup of regular canola oil. And 1 egg, which is at room temperature, and I've cracked in a separate container because you know my theory on if you get a bad egg, you've ruined your mixture. So let's get that. Well, you know what? Sometimes it works better if you plug it in. There we go. Get that creaming up a little bit. My bananas. And I just want to get this mixed up a little bit before I put my bananas in. I'll put my bananas in and then I'll add my my mixture. And this is my flour mixture. And you know, I always tell you to take a whisk and run it through your flour mixture because first off, it'll break up any, sorry that I'm talking over this. It'll break up any clumps you might have in there of flour and kind of act as a sifter. But it also mixes everything in. So if something should splosh off the top, you haven't lost all your baking powder. Okay. Now you can't see in there, so let's move you up a little bit more. I think you can. I just want the egg and the flour to get kind of combined in there. Nice yellow flavor, color. All right. I'm gonna add the bananas. Good to me. And I'm going to let that get going for just a second. Now normally I would put toffee bits in here, but I don't have any. So I'm just putting mini chocolate chips because normally my recipe calls for 1 cup of mini chocolate chips and 1/2 cup of mini toffee bits. So I don't have the toffee bits, but I do have the chocolate chips. I always have chocolate chips. But it calls for mini ones. Okay. So can you see how nice that is? Nice and blended. So I'm going to stop that. I'm going to add about 1/2 of my flour. Get that blended up in there. While that's blending, I'll show you. I'm going to use 2 loaf pans. I could make one big. I have to laugh. I'm so crammed up in this corner. I could make one big loaf, but I find that, you know, I take one out and we eat kind of one at a time. A big loaf is just a little bit too much for us. So what I'm going to do is I am going to, I'm sorry that I'm yelling over this. I'm going to spray it with my Aldi Carlini. This is a canola oil spray. And then I'm going to take a piece of parchment and put it down so that it folds over the sides. This way I can lift it out and put it on my cooling rack when I'm done. So I'll get those two ready. Put the rest of this flour in. Go. Get that going. Spray off my other pan. Hold on. You know, it's interesting because it's not that I have a really, really small kitchen. I don't have a big kitchen, but it's not terribly small. It's just that my cabinets, see, stick out. So there's not a lot of space for me to be able to, I've had this conversation with you many times. So it is what it is. We work with it, right? Okay, so that looks good. I'm going to put in my cup of mini chocolate chips. And bam. Because I really don't want to over mix it a lot with the chocolate chips in there because I don't want to, you know, to crunch them all up. So let me take this out and take this off. You know, you've heard me say this before. I love my KitchenAid, my mixer. And it is a 6-quart mixer, and so what I like about it is, you know that I double recipes all the time, right? And it will handle a double recipe of chocolate chips. And quite honestly, I don't usually go beyond doubling because it's not really great for the recipe to do that, right? So, however, because it's a 6-quart, you know, it's got my crank here thing on the side where it cranks up and down. You know, this brings my, instead of rocking back, this comes up and down, brings my bowl up and down. You couldn't see that, but anyway, you get the gist. But sometimes it won't go to the bottom, all the way to the bottom. So I always make sure that I take a spoon and really dig the bottom so that everything is nice and blended. There we go. So now I am going to just split this batter between these two pans. Oh, it smells good. And I didn't waste. I'm so happy. It pains me to throw away produce. I mean, we all do it. Have good intentions when you buy it, right? But whenever I see things going south on me, it's when you see in the summer I make a lot of tomato pie. I make lots of stuff. Oh my God, all my tomatoes are going bad. Especially if you buy a bag of avocados, you got about a day window in there. All right. And here we go. You know I'm going to do this, right? 1, 2, 3. Because that's what my mama told me. Get the air bubbles out. That's what she said. I just do it. So I am going to trim this up a little bit. Because yes, it is parchment paper. And it's not going to, they say it's not going to catch on fire. But I just don't think I need to have that much extra paper. I am going to put this in the oven for, the recipe says 45 to 55 minutes, but these are not real deep in this pan, so I will set my timer for 40 minutes and I will check it. Ooh, wait. The other thing that I like to do is, because I always do more than what it is I like to take and put some chocolate chips over the top. And if I had the toffee bits, I would do that too. But I don't have them, sadly. Tell you what, toffee bits and the banana bread, it just makes it yummy. All right. So in this is gonna go, and we will be back, okay? Hold on. Okay, it smells absolutely wonderful in here. I have to tell you that. I mean, bananas and chocolate. Ooh, it smells so good. So here it is out of the oven. And I will also tell you that if you go back and look at the video, you will see that I did not put vanilla in there. Meant to, didn't do it. Realized it after they were in the oven for just about 30 seconds. Took them out of the oven. We called for a teaspoon of vanilla, so I took a half teaspoon and put them in each one of my things and stirred it up with a spoon. So you know, sometimes you just gotta punt. So I'm gonna take them out of here and let them cool on this rack, and then I will probably take them both to Charleston, is the true story. But if I didn't do that, what I would do would be to wrap them in press and seal, put them in a Ziploc, and put them in my freezer till I wanted them. So if you haven't made them, and I'm telling you, if you have toffee bits, it's just over the top good. So the chocolate chips, that really makes it great. So anyway, if you have never made it, give it a try. It's really good. Have a great day. Bye.